Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and this is the 4-inch Jakks Pacific Vector figure. Now, I bought this as well as a bunch of other figures from my buddy Eric, because I'm just now getting into this figure collecting. I didn't properly clean up from the last video, whoops. And I want to tilt him. I want him to look nice. But anyway, I bought these figures from my buddy Eric. Because I told him, hey, I'm finally starting to collect these things. And he's been hoarding a bunch of these. So he's like, hey, yeah, I got a bunch extra. Yeah, I'll sell it to you for a decent price. So before we take a look at this guy, I actually want to show off the other ones that I got. So I'll let you guys decide which one do I unbox next, because I got too many now. Next up, we have Dr. Eggman, the modern. Then we have an Egg Robo, which is one I was looking for when I started recollecting. A classic Knuckles, which I feel silly for buying because there's a 3-pack now. But hey, what you gonna do? At least I have a purple Chaos Emerald now. And then we also have a Mighty figure, which now I gotta find Ray. I have all the classic characters in the 2.5-inch line, but I want them also in the 4-inch line because I'm stupid. But yeah, I also bought Vector from him, and I was very excited for this one. So the accessory he comes with is the 10-ring thing that you see in modern games, which is pretty neat. And I'm excited to gather a bunch of these little collectibles. It's so silly, but he's so big. Look at him. I love it. And then on the back, we get to see the rest of the wave, which is Amy as well as Ray, which is pretty ironic because I need a Ray now, but I really want an Amy. And then we have a classic Sonic with his mouth open. I'm not a huge fan of that one. I still need a classic Sonic, and I know they're re-releasing a classic Tails very shortly. So I'll try and grab them if I can. But now that we got a closer look at them, let's open them up. And I know people are gonna hate that I'm opening this. That hurts me a little bit. But yeah, he did come me a huge deal on this, so I'm pretty thankful to have these. And I hope he knows that I'm opening all these figures. Because he was all like, oh, I kept these away from the sun, everything's in good shape. Yeah. He's open now. Man, his feet are really stuck in there. There we go. And then the little ring accessory. There we go. Okay, now that he's out of the box, we can just throw that out of the way, and we can check out Vector. I do like this little ring accessory, but I wish the Jakks figures came with more accessories that are more tailored to like who the character is. Like, it would have been awesome to see him come with a little walkie-talkie, but you only see that in Sonic Heroes. Everything else doesn't really matter, so this little 10 ring, that's fine. I like that. I think he looks really great. When it comes to how his tail is painted, like towards his lower half where it's articulated, the little spikes are like half painted, what it looks like. You see a lot of green in there. And that might be a little bit hard to see when you're like actually hunting for this guy in the wild. But this is also a very old figure. I don't think you're gonna really find this guy in the wild all that much unless you go to like, I don't know, Ollie's or older stores that have older stock for some reason. But I like this figure because he has elbow articulation, one of the few figures that do, and he has a ball jointed wrist. Interesting, very nice. But the thing that surprised me the most about this guy is how his mouth can actually like open and close, because not even the Jazwares one does that, so that's actually pretty neat. The colors on this guy are very, very vibrant. I'm not sure if they're that vibrant in the game. It's kind of a little bit off-putting to me, but this is also kind of mainly because I grew up with the Jazwares figure, and whenever I see the character in the game, he has more details to him, like scales and all that stuff, and you don't see that on this figure, which is completely fine. The chain under his neck is loose right here, but it is tight and like actually like molded onto him, or at least glued onto him, like around his neck, so you don't have to worry about that flopping around or anything. He doesn't have any head articulation, just the movable jaw, which I don't feel like he needs a head articulation all that much, because he would just look silly. He used to be like tilting his head whenever he would move, so it would look really weird. Him not having knee articulation isn't as necessary compared to him having the elbows. The elbows is definitely very necessary. And then the bottom of the shoes, just, you know, just have different stampings right here. I like how the paint consistency between the shoes are different, so that's a little silly. But I feel like this is a character that when it comes to the average consumer, they're not going to care for that much when it comes to buying a figure for them. So it's mainly just the Sonic fans, for the most part, like me. But let's see how he scales next to other figures real quick. So first up, let's take a look at the Jazwares figure real quick. This one in particular is from the 3-pack, where it came with a little accessory. And I like how he handled the headphones on the newer figure versus Jazwares, because with Jazwares, it's just a giant thick piece of plastic that's just molded onto his head, while with the Jakks Pacific one, it's actually suspended a little bit over his head. Like, it actually looks like it's a separate piece a little bit. The shade of green that they used on the Jazwares one, I kind of prefer more. It looks a little bit more muted, and I feel it matches the game a little bit more compared to how it looks on the Jakks Pacific one. It kind of looks more child toy-ish. I know it is, but I want it to be accurate more to the game, okay? Leave me alone. But I thought the Jazwares one looked fine for the longest time, but comparing them side by side and also trying to take my nostalgia goggles off, you can see how cheaply that the chain as well as the headphones and everything look. Even though I prefer the color tone on the rest of his body, and you also can't open his jaw at all, but he does have head articulation, which the Jakks Pacific one doesn't, but then he just looks silly. So not having head articulation on the Jakks Pacific one, that's fine. I don't care about that. Having an open mouth is so much cooler than having a moving head. So that's fine. But how does he stand next to Espio? I feel like the scaling between the two actually makes a little bit more sense. This actually looks really good. I like this. Here's how the Jazwares figures look next to each other. And for the longest time, I felt Espio looked a little bit tall. But I'm trying to compare them side by side to the Jakks, and from the angle that I can see, it looks pretty similar, I'm not gonna lie. Because I bought these figures specifically because they probably scale better, and they just look good and all that stuff. But I feel a little bit silly now because I feel like the scaling is pretty close to each other already. So am I silly for buying these 4-inch figures even though I have a mostly complete Jakks Pacific collection? Or Jazwares collection, I mean? I don't know. Maybe a little bit. I'm committed now, though. I spent a lot of money on these guys already. Now, if you ask me which figures do I like better, the Jakks Pacific ones versus the Jazwares ones, it's a little bit tough because I feel like there's better like quality and paint job and molding and all that stuff on the Jakks Pacific ones. However, I do like how they feel closer to the character on the... Yes, Chloe. And this one wants a lot of attention. But like I was saying, I do like the Jakks Pacific ones. I do like the way these things look for the most part, but I feel like with the Jazwares ones, like him having a serious tone fits the character a little bit more. I like the color tone on Vector on this one a little bit more as well. Meow, that's right, she says. So yeah, I guess the Jakks Pacific ones do look better, but personally I just kind of prefer the Jazwares ones. Again, that could mostly be nostalgia, but I just like the way they look, you know? I think she wants on the bed, hold on. But let's compare him to a few more figures. Let's compare him to Sonic. And personally, I love the scaling between these two. I think they look really good next to each other. I feel like if I was a kid and I was getting these figures for the first time, I'd be like super duper happy to have these two next to each other. But we also gotta compare him to Knuckles because, you know, Knuckles Chaotix. And Knuckles looks a little bit tall, but I feel like it's mainly his boots. Again, this is an older Knuckles that I have, so whenever I find the newer one in the wild, I'll probably pick that one up. But now, I gotta get a Charmy figure, which as of right now, Jakks Pacific only has done a 2.5-inch one. And I'm not sure if they're gonna do a 4-inch one because I don't know if the 2.5-inch one properly scales or not. Personally, I feel like it probably doesn't, but people have that in their collection for now as a placeholder. So that said, he's probably an expensive piece now. But it's weird how I have those two, but I also don't have any of the essentials. I don't have Tails yet, which I have a certain one in mind. I don't have Amy, I don't have Silver, like I'm missing a lot of essential characters. So I'm excited to keep continuing this journey of trying to find more of these figures. But as of right now, like going from store to store trying to find these guys, it becomes so disheartening because between doing YouTube and working a full-time job, I know this sounds like a first world problem. It definitely is. But I don't have a whole lot of free time because I edit my own videos and all that stuff, and that's very time consuming. So the little time that I have to go out toy hunting to try to find these guys just for me to find nothing, it's so disheartening. So at this point, I almost want to just strictly to resort to eBay. But that kind of kills the joy of trying to hunt for these figures. Because half the reason I'm buying these figures again is I'm trying to relive what I felt when I was hunting for the Jazwares figures when I was going to Toys R Us all the time. And that was always so exhilarating and fun. But now, I don't know. It's so tough now. So I guess it's just a matter of just trying to find them in the wild if I can. So even then, even after this recording today, I'm probably going to hunt a little bit more. I'm still trying to find that Neo Metal Sonic that for some reason goes for like $100 on eBay for a $10 figure. I wouldn't mind spending $30 on it, but $100? No! No! That's awful! So that said, that's all I gotta really say in this video. We will be doing a lot more unboxings for more Sonic figures. I also have a lot of other unboxings that are not related to Sonic coming up pretty soon. Look, I have Pain from Naruto. I have Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia from SH Figure Arts. Like, I have a lot of stuff coming in the near future. So, get excited. So that said, if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. I'll be unboxing a lot of Sonic figures from Jakks Pacific, and if there's any Sonic Nendoroids, I'll try to cover as much Sonic stuff as I can. And I also do have other figure unboxings coming in as well, and I might start dabbling into a couple of Dragon Ball Z figures because they do look pretty cool. I don't have any room for them, but I mean, I have a few of them already. But like, it would be nice to have a collection of those and actually get into Dragon Ball Z. Oh yeah, I don't watch Dragon Ball Z, but I do like the figures, and if I like the show, I'm gonna want more figures. So it's a very slippery slope. That's why I don't watch anime all that much anymore. But that's a side tangent for another day. So, like I said, links down below for all my social media. I try to stream every Wednesday night as well, whether it be chill streams or just playing Nintendo or PlayStation stuff. But thank you for watching. I love you guys to death. And I'll see you on the next one. So peace, peace.